past 2 days, I've applied to 88 jobs. 84 jobs I've applied to. I sent out 7 LinkedIn messages as well too, just sent out another LinkedIn message. I've applied to 1 job today. I'm going to try and apply to a couple more before I end up going to the gym. I didn't really have I know what company I would love to work for in the meantime, so that then I can start doing podcasts and having conversations with everybody that I can have conversations with, and still even try to keep doing the coaching and or inspiring you to go live the best life that you can live. So I just know that I like having at least somewhat of a structure of a job of a 9-to-5. And if people want to shame me or scold me for that, then so be it. I've done that myself for many years. It's fun, but it's also for me, I like that structure. It's kind of a military-esque structure, even though I was never a military man. I just would go out, and if I had to be at a certain class at a certain time, I'd make sure I'd wake up at that time to be able to ensure that I made it to the class. Or if I was, say, going snowboarding with a friend of mine or something along those lines and I had to be up at 4:30, it's okay, I could be up at 4:30. For some odd reason, I'm able to stay a lot more accountable to somebody else than I am to myself, even though I can stay accountable to myself when it comes down to the gym, walking, dieting, exercising, applying for jobs, things like that when the time is right, and or other relationships that I have too. So I can stay accountable to myself, while also at the same time I feel it's better for me to stay accountable to others. It's even this is me. Nobody's telling me to make these videos every single day, and yet I do. Nobody told me to apply to 40 jobs every single day, but it's what I'm doing. It's with the jobs that I was applying to, I've had 2 responses back. One of the companies, they have really good reviews on for their company page, on the Google reviews. But when I looked up the reviews on Glassdoor, everybody was saying that it wasn't the best company to work for. So I'm do I actually go and have a 15-minute preliminary call with that company? Something that I probably will, just for shits and giggles, but I'm not entirely sure. Because a lot of the people were saying that it was a minimum wage job in a sense, but it was a sales job. Even though the people are you have $70,000 to $220,000, and once you have a book of business. And I was well, that sounds pretty good. But all the reviews were saying the complete opposite. Apparently something's happening on Monday. This video is going to be way out past that time, but somebody else I was talking with was saying that job markets are changing. Because apparently there's employers and companies out there that will just leave jobs on their website as a phishing thing or something along those lines, just to get your resume or whatever it may be. I don't know exactly what they're doing. But apparently they'll leave them up on their page even if they aren't actually hiring for it, which is kind of messed up in my personal opinion, because I'm for all I know, half the jobs that I was applying for weren't even actually active jobs, and yet they had listings there, so I was trying to apply. And the way that I was doing the application process as well too was I was going onto LinkedIn and I was doing my best to avoid any of the easy applies. So I talked with the guy months ago at this point in time, where he was it was resume guy or something like that. And I asked him, I was when I'm supposed to be applying for jobs, do you recommend going for the easy apply on LinkedIn or not going for those? And he's I'd stay away from those because those applications just get tons and tons of applicants within a given day. I think I read something on Reddit for one of the companies where they got 850 applications and within the first day of posting one of the jobs, jobs or something like that. So I'm trying to think of different creative ways to overcome those things. But whenever I do see one of the the easy applies on LinkedIn, what I'll do is I'll copy and paste the website or the name of the company, go to their actual page, click on scroll down to the bottom, go to the careers, find the job listing there, and apply directly to that said place. I also have been making a resume for every single application that or company that I've been applying for, along with making a cover letter for every company that is asking for a cover letter. And when I say I'm making a resume for every single one, all I'm doing, and this is something that I learned from somebody else that I was talking with at the gym when it comes down to jobs, is some of the advice that he was given. So he basically was telling me, it's just most jobs are using AI sorting software or something like that, so that they can just sort through the customers or the applicants as fast as they possibly can, and they look for certain keywords. So I was updating my skills section with each and every single application that I was submitting. And the way that I was doing that is I would copy and paste the job application itself into ChatGPT and ask it to write down 8 skills or keywords so that I could paste those onto my resumes. I'd copy and paste that onto my resume under the core skills section, relabel the application that I end up making for that new job, saving it as a PDF, uploading that to the said company, And then if they ask for a cover letter, I'd ask chat to write up a cover letter for me as well too, using my resume as a reference. I figure out the companies are using AI to be able to find like ideal candidates, then why can't you and I do the exact same thing to find an ideal job if that is what we're looking for? And I know that I might not be able to make as much money like doing a sales job or something like that, but then I'm like, dude, I love the sales side. I love being able to fulfill things. Like even when I was thinking about this, I'm like, the thing that I was thinking about all the time is I don't think about how to like make better content or better videos. Like sure, I do a little bit, but like most of the time it's like, how can I have a better conversation? How can I listen better? How could I persuade somebody? How could I be there for them? How could I ask better questions? Like I ask more of those things, which is why I love the sales side of things a lot. Like the content stuff, I just don't get as much feedback unless like you leave a comment. When you leave a comment, then yes, I do get the feedback. Or if we have like a one-on-one call, then I get feedback from you that way about how you like this part of the video or how you liked I said this thing or whatever it may be. I always get feedback that way, which I'm grateful for. And I'm always happy to do that with you as well too. In reference to the jobs, the thing that I always like to keep in the back of my mind is volume will negate luck. So as long as I just keep going and going and going, and I was even talking about this with some guys in the sauna last night, where we were talking about like how dating is a little bit difficult, and I have another video on the channel around like why I think most people are single at this point in time or why you might be struggling. But we were talking about that. It's just like I feel like a lot of the times it's numbers game, and we give up after we don't get that first yes or that first like answer, those first rejections. Like when the rejections ended up coming in, because I've gotten at least 4 rejections so far from the 84 applications that I've sent up until this point. I don't know how many more we'll have moving forward, but that's what I'm at. And I'm like, it sucks that I didn't get this, but it's also like it was I would have had that regardless if I wouldn't have at least gone out and had that like that video or that application in the first place. So I figured I might as well just keep trying to put stuff out there, see what works, because I just need one to hook. Because like I have another meeting tomorrow. For you it'll probably be like last week or something like that, but for me it's tomorrow. It's like a half an hour phone call with somebody at one of these other companies that I was sent out applications for. So I did get that after like one day of applying, so that's pretty neat. So I got 1 out of the 40 on the first day. Second day I still haven't gotten anything from what I've been able to see from the applications that I've sent on the following days. But it's just, I don't know, it's kind of tough, it's kind of not tough. I'm just trying to find like creative ways to go around it. I know a company I like to work for. It's a matter of trying to get in with that company, and some people could be like, oh, you need to go do your own thing. But like I said at the beginning, you don't have to. Like you can do what you want to do. I like what I said. I enjoy having like the structure of like being able to work somewhere for a couple of hours and come home, be able to work on the things that I want to do. Because one of the guys that told me about like implementing the skills on and changing that for like your resume using like ChatGPT and having like a custom resume for each and every single applicant that you aim for. He's like, there's 2 sayings. One is a lot of people live to work and others work to live. And I was thinking about that. He's like, the one of my friends that he lives to work, he's like made millions of dollars so far. I'm like, that's awesome. And I still plan on doing that as well too. It's why I make the videos. I don't know if that's the right reason for me to make videos in the first place, but it's also just kind of my way of being able to document what I have, because I was watching videos that I made years ago. I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive of how far I've come. So it's also just kind of like a tracking thing for me. And then for him, the other guy that I was just saying, he works to live. So like he was fine like just working, clocking in and clocking out, and I don't see anything wrong with that either, because I have friends as well too that are like more in the business stuff, and it's like they're always working, they're always going, and I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm always going and I'm always working as well too, but I also like just being able to like just have a conversation with people and just like listen to them and not try to sell them on something. And that's why what I was saying at the beginning of this is being able to like do like a weekly podcast. And I was writing the numbers and I was like, I probably need like $1,500 or so maybe per podcast episode, depending on how I end up doing it, was kind of my thought. And that's where I'm like the sales stuff can come in, because then I can do at least a podcast episode like once a week, every Saturday or Sunday or something along those lines, pass it off to an editor to have them edit it, have them like create the thumbnail, the title, and do the rest of the stuff. And I can just talk with the person, because that's all I really want to do. I just want to talk. I don't want to have to worry about the editing or the hooks or the titles or the thumbnails for any of that stuff. I'd rather just have somebody else handle that. That's why I'm figuring like $1,500 per podcast. So I mean, that'd be around $6,000 a month per podcast if I'm doing it that way, because if I have 2 cameramen or something along those lines with dual cameras, or maybe I could just do 1 cameraman and then have like 1 editor or something like that, but have a 3-camera setup. So we at least have the two normal cameras that we have, like for me and then for my guest, and then the wide camera so that we can see both of us. And then if I have more guests as well too, because there's other conversations that I have that I just listen to and 2 other people are talking, and whenever I have something to add on, like I add that thing on. So I like to be able to do that, and I understand that that requires me to go get a job to be able to do these types of things, because like I could do client work And I've thought about that multiple times, and I know one of you referenced that. If you're still watching these videos, which I appreciate that, and if you're at the gym right now, hey, congrats, man. Keep working out in the best ways that you can. I just feel like me doing creative work for somebody else it kind of takes like the love and passion out of it, because everybody has a different version or a different view of what the creative aspect needs to look like. It's the same thing when it comes down to applying for jobs. Everybody's looking for this said experience. But I read this thing in this book the other day, and it was a little bit different than I wrote it down in my own way. It's like, you say you can sell. This is your great chance to prove it. Sell these people yourself. That will sell them the idea that they need you to help you sell their goods. So I'm like, I'll just sell myself to the companies that I'm trying to apply for. If I feel like it resonates, cool. If not, then I'll go on to the next one. Like, I get to decide as much as where I work as much as somebody else. Even though right now I would like to just be able to get a job and have some sort of income coming in, something at least enough, because the video that I did the other day, you saw like my monthly expenses, or at least I ran through my monthly expenses with you. And I'm just kind of figuring, if that's what I was able to do the other day, then I need something somewhere. And I know the sales side of things is fun. Like when I was just DMing people and messaging and sending out applications the other day, it might have been a little bit monotonous for some, but I'm like, for me, dude, I don't know why. It's simple. It's like me building a set of Legos. I just enjoy it. It's just me like going over here, looking at this. All right, I do this, now I click this, now I talk with this, now I fill these things in, and then I go on to the next. And then same thing. It's kind of like working on like a manufacturing line or something like that. Because I'd be happy, as weird as this sounds, like just doing like the same thing, at least for a certain period of time. I might get a little exhausted and a little bored, but that's where like I have that variety of like going out, traveling, talking to other people, doing the podcast, doing things along those lines. And I think that helps out a lot when it comes down to like searching for jobs and finding the balance that you want to have in your life. Because from what I've seen and what I'm trying to share with you, and hopefully maybe help you look at it in a different way, is everybody's going to be selling you on the dream that they themselves have or that they wish that they could do, instead of asking you yourself, what is it that you want? What would you like to achieve? What would you like to overcome? What would your life like to look like? Do you want to do these things? Do you not want to do these things? What do you want your work-life balance to look like? Do you want to work 60 hours a week? Do you want to work 40 hours a week? Do you want to work 10 hours a week? Like, what type of work do you want to do? Do you want to do sales? Do you want to do psychology? Do you want to do counseling? Because I was even talking with a girl the other night too, and she's 38, 35, I think. She was just going back to get her MBA. She's trying to become a nurse practitioner or something like that. I think that's right. MBA, nurse, BNA. I don't know. She's trying to become that. She was thinking about becoming a doctor as well too. And I'm like, oh, okay. She's 35 and she's trying to become a doctor. And I was like, I could do that as well too. Like, I'm 28 right now. I could also, like, if I could find a job that has like tuition reimbursement, that'd be perfect for me. I never thought I would go back to school, but I'm like, it'd be kind of cool to be a psychiatrist or a counselor and actually have like the clear like certification so that I can keep doing this, because people open up to me all the time and I just like listening and solving problems, and sometimes I don't even have to talk. Sometimes people just need somebody to listen to them. So that's what I do. Like, I'll wrap it up right after this, but I had a conversation with a dude last night too, where him and I would probably talked for about an hour. I said maybe 15 words, I feel like, out of the whole conversation, because he was just talking. I'm like, that's fine. Most people wouldn't do that I know. Most people would rather just like talk like about themselves. But for me, like, this is my one place that I really get to talk and share about my ideas. But 99% of the time, I'm always the one that's doing the listening. That's one of the reasons why I make these videos. Yeah, it's just one of the reasons why I make the videos. But yeah, if you're in the process of trying to find a job or get into a job or something along those lines, because I know I went off on a little side tangent, which apologize for that. Just keep going, keep applying, keep trying. Something's gonna stick, something's gonna work, something's gonna land, and then you'll be golden. And that's why like I wasn't worried about the expenses, because if I get $100,000 like annual job or something like that, I can make all of my money back within 6 months. If I keep spending the way that I'm spending, then I can just build my savings back up and I can be golden. It's something that I was talking about briefly yesterday, is like, would I rather just live like below my means for the rest of my life, or would I rather have a lot more? And I'm like, I'd rather have a lot more personally. Because I had a dream last night. I know this is another side tangent, but I had a dream that I was driving like a black Ferrari, like in the snow. Really fun, really exciting. And there was like a full moon. It was really neat and cool. But yeah, other than that, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. I'll chat with you tomorrow. If you made it to the end of the video and you aren't already subscribed, click that subscribe button with the notification bell on. Completely free. Make these videos every single day. They're released at 8 a.m. Mountain Standard, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can like, share, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff, that good stuff. Helps with my vanity and my ego and things like that. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. I just figured I'd toss it out there. That being said, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for listening.